Oh. Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. Be grateful. Be grateful for what you have. Make this more independent. Be grateful for who you are. Inhale, and as you exhale, smile. Being grateful for what you have is a form of intellectualization. There is an analysis. There's a study. Being grateful for who you are is a internalization. This is more independent. You are the locus. Meaningful Mornings is a workshop, is a community to grow up from intellectualizing to internalizing. For the past year and a half, we have been exploring Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a map to where? Infinity. Unlike an ordinary map or a secular map, this map is not about going. You don't have to go anywhere to India to become 70 and so on. This map is about knowing. Bhagavad Gita's focus is jnana. It is only through knowing that one can start to or restart being. You can't go to infinity. You can't even know infinity. You can only be infinity. Within Bhagavad Gita, the middle portion, which is chapters 7 through 12, Shri Krishna zooms into bhakti. In English, devotion. From a scholarly perspective, this is also known as upasana, which means to sit near. If you're sitting near, the implication, you can't sit near consciousness. You can only be consciousness. So here, sitting near divinity. Different words for divinity is saguna Brahma, the infinite with qualities. A word that we've typically been using is creator. The middle portion, our focus is on the creator. And try to understand the practicality of this, the methodology of all of this. The first section of Bhagavad Gita is about creation. That is us. We are fully oriented towards ourselves. Just reflect on your body. Do you need to contemplate on, I am the body? No, that's what we identify with now. The next step in this journey is to shift that identification from from creation to the creator. From Prince Arjuna to Sri Krishna. I'd shared a way to do this recently for us to think big, to live in an expansive way. Focusing on this more, start with the body. To be less concerned about the appearance of the body, the cravings of the body. Do you remember I shared all of that? And what is required is more contemplation. What is required is more creator. I'm going to share one more insight into this before we complete chapter 7 again. To shift from creation to creator, from individuality to divinity, expose the body to less comfort. Less comfort. The more comfortable you make the body, the more the body becomes real. If you expose the body to discomfort, you are all hard, smart, working seekers. Which means that if you're uncomfortable physically, your mind will work to make that experience comfortable. How? You'll identify with that which is higher. Is that clear? Recently, I had to drive to Albany and back, and I was driving a larger vehicle, Honda Pilot. And as I was driving, I saw so many trucks, and I was reflecting to myself, for Vivek, how awesome it would be to be a trucker. You get to be with yourself all the time. In nature, that could be such an experience of listening, reflecting, contemplating. When we think of being a trucker, our instinct is this would be uncomfortable. You have to sit here, sleep here, eat there. I think with a change in narrative, this can be very meaningful. Chapter 7 ends with Shri Krishna saying, Ye ashritya, those who depend on me. Bhakti means dependence. Upasana means to sit near, sit with. Those who depend on me, te Brahma. They are actually, factually infinite. That is the message of Bhagavad Gita, te Brahma. This is hard for us to relate to. So Shri Krishna ends the chapter in verse 30, sharing, Sadi bhutadi devam mam, sadi yajnam cha ye viduhu, prayana kale picha mam, te vidur yukta chetasaha. To help us to relate to our nature. From creation to creator to consciousness, he shares, I am the outer world. I am the inner world. I am the communion between the outer world and inner world and outer world. Think about this teaching style. When one feeds a child, suppose you give them a whole chapati or piece of bread. It could be intimidating for them. So what do? You give them a third. They finish that, what do you do next? You give them the next third and the next third, because they can relate to that more. The same message though. There is no individuality. There is only infinity. Shri Krishna's encouraging us to know this now. Even if you're about to die, as I say the word die, if you know this, you will be this forever. The purpose of your life is complete. You were born not to be reborn again. And what this shows is one's evolution is not time-based. Our secular lives are time-based. That's why all of you who keep looking to 8 o'clock, I know where your mind is. It is sincerity-based. You could be today's meaningful morning 701. If you're just joining now, but you're more sincere, you are more evolved. Our Sankalpa Vakya, one more time. Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishnarjuna Samvade Jnana Vijnana Yogo Nama Saptamo Dhyayaha. The 7th chapter has the theme of Jnana Vijnana Yoga. The Sankalpa Vakya is an intention statement that what we just experienced was the study of evolving from intellectualization, that is jnana, to vijnana, which is internalization. We recently organized our older son's birthday party with his school friends. So they went to a jungle gym called Cheeky Monkey. And when all of these 10 kids came to this jungle gym, the smiles on their faces were incredible. And I thought to myself that Sheila and I, we put in all of this effort. Why? For those smiles. Why we flow through Bhagavad Gita is for no utility other than to be closer to Sri Krishna. There's so much fulfillment in listening and living for Sri Krishna, just like there's so much fulfillment in organizing a child's birthday that is less materialistic. Every chapter emphasizes this. Chapter 8. Chapter 8 is entitled, the theme is Akshara Brahma Yoga. The study, the uniting with Brahma. Do you remember one of the last statements Sri Krishna makes? Te Brahma. What is this infinity? Who is this infinity? This infinity is qualified by Akshara. Akshara means indestructible. We have strange notions of the infinite. The dollar is infinite. That's not true. A dollar can last a long time, but it's not infinite. The world is infinite. That's also not true. The world may last a long time, but it's not infinite also. So this chapter helps us to be clear that this infinity that we're aspiring to be is a once and for all deal. This is the end subject in our lives. I had shared with all of you, I'd invited all of you, I am inviting all of you to Vyasa's 10th samskara. It's called Akshara Abhyasa. The whole purpose of education is to be enlightened. And that's what this chapter deals with, particularly in the context of death. This chapter relates to those who are dying and die. Now, for some of us, Maybe we don't think about that so much. Maybe the 20-year-old in college right now, that's not something she or he contemplates on. Dying in death is a form of change. Throughout all of the change that's happening in the outer world and the inner world and the connection between the outer and inner, there is a presence that is changeless. Shri Paramatmane Namaha Atha Ashtadashodhyayaha Ashtamodhyayaha Arjuna Uvacha. Prince Arjuna begins with a question, which we will explore tomorrow. From inspiration to application. Yesterday, I was listening to a podcast about what's happening in Ethiopia. How many of you know what's happening in Ethiopia right now? Ethiopia is experiencing the worst drought that they've had for 40 years. According to foreign records. But according to Ethiopian records, they're experiencing the worst drought that they've had in 120 years. And the projection is, if this goes on, that around 250,000 people will die due to starvation, of which the majority are children. And what's so hurtful about this is that this is all happening because of climate change, which Ethiopia is not a contributor towards. Climate change is particularly caused by China, America, and food wastage. That's all of us. We may not be living in China, but the majority are Americans. All of us waste food. And that's why I'm so passionate. We are so passionate about sharing our privilege. What we do in America, what we do in our homes is affecting the livelihood, the life of those in Ethiopia and beyond. Your application for the past week was Selflessness Week, and I particularly shared about supporting the Clean Air Task Force. I said I would remind you. I'm reminding you again, you've had the privilege of 100 weeks of meaningful mornings for free. Share your privilege, not with Vivek, with those who we are harming in direct and indirect ways. Your application for this morning. I want you to test yourself to incorporate some sort of veganism into your lifestyle. Today's the first day of summer for us in North America. We're moving towards the sun, towards independence. Sheila and I have decided that we are going to be vegan Monday through Friday. This is how we're going to try to go from creation to creator. I'm challenging you to do the same. Maybe that doesn't work for you. Maybe be a vegan at home, and outside of your home, you can eat the way you want. I'm only giving you different ways for all of us to practice in our own way. This is your application. And I'm very happy to see so many of you join us for Sri Rudram. We will continue with Sri Rudram, chapter 8, for the next while. Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be joy.